not simply that we're being visited by guys from other planets. It isn't simply that we're being visited by guys from other star systems, nor are we being, from other galaxies. But God, those are all given. They also knew that when I retired in '76, that we're being visited by guys from other dimensions. They're coming through portals, apparently. They create portals, apparently. And they're coming and going from other dimensions. And the more advanced societies we have encountered have been multidimensional. And it's no wonder that our ancestors deified these dudes back 10,000 years ago. I think there are people today who would deify them if they were to confront them and see what they can do and understand where they're from and what their capabilities are. You would think that it was almost godlike to have that kind of technology.
The presence of these obviously intelligently controlled machines tells us that we are dealing with beings who have anywhere from 1,000 to 1 million to 10 million to 1 billion years advancement in technology on us. So imagine what a culture could accomplish in 1,000 years, or 10,000 years, or 1 million years, or 1 billion years. It's not inconceivable that you have intelligently manufactured and controlled machines that can not only traverse great distances in space by mastering gravity and the time-space continuum, but also the interdimensional travel that might be possible. Many theories now purport that there were not only 4 dimensions at the creation of the entire multiverse 14 billion years ago at the time of the Big Bang. There were 11, maybe as many as 21 dimensions. So some of these beings may be coming from an extra dimensional place. I mean, and what it says is that these technologies have been harnessed, and that it's possible to use other fuels that don't rely just on simple combustion.
But to make matters even more complicated, the idea of parallel dimensions or parallel universes, I mean, it's just getting so vast out there. How do you map a multiverse?
I've talked to some guys, they say that 5th dimension, 6th dimension, could be right here by my ear and could be 1 millimeter wide and 1 millimeter across. Because you're talking about, dimensions that defy any kind of dimensional understanding. The concept that what we live in, the 4 dimensions of height, length, width, and time, is not all there is. There are more dimensional realities. There are advanced beings with machines that can skip from dimension to dimension, from galaxy to galaxy, using the Einstein-Rosen bridges, the wormholes. There are parallel realities just because of the way we go through time. Like, here we are in this interview right now. Well, what I said and what you said and what we all did 2 minutes ago still exists somewhere. Because we just did it. It's there. It's like a wake we've left. And if you had a time vehicle, you could go back to 2 minutes before and stop and see what we're doing 2 minutes before. You go back to your high school days. You go back to your days as an infant. And those realities are still existent alongside what we're progressing through. It's all a beautiful, beautiful mystery. I think possibly the next, maybe even in the next 5 years, we're going to have occasions like the one I experienced in upstate New York in the mid-'80s when I woke up in the middle of the night and I said to my wife, they're calling me, I want to go outside, they want me to come outside and see. Who? Something outside wants me to come out and say, oh, just go back to bed. I went back to bed, but in the next day in the media, in newspapers, in radio, all over upstate New York and Ontario, Quebec and Vermont, people spoke about this urge they had to go out of their houses at 3 in the morning and look up into the sky. And 12,000 people shared this urge, and they went out and it was a big, big news story. And of course the Air Force said that a Chinese rocket exploded over New York State, and what people saw was a massive, miles-high pink spiral in the sky above the Great Lakes. In Hull, Quebec, Canada, a few years afterwards, there was a story of several hundred people, almost 1,000 people, in this community, Gatineau, north of Hull, Quebec, Canada, in the Quebec province, sharing this urge to come outside and look up into the sky, and they also saw an apparition. So there are going to be more of these mass sightings. There are benevolent beings that are trying to heal the planet, hence the size of these ships that we're seeing in the STS cameras, and the fact that the ozone has holes in it, the fact that water could be a healing element there. What are these lifesaver-shaped little Dropostone-shaped ships conveying to our planet? Well, you know, we see them coming into the atmosphere, and on the STS tapes and other forms of exposure, they're not releasing personnel, they're not releasing projectiles, and no harm has come to the planet, you know, through their intervention. It can really encompass a theory of how these ships move, proposing, you know, that if you can convert, you know, a mass to a state of, you know, of photonic energy, then there is no mass anymore, and you're looking at pure light, you're looking at anti-gravity. Does it give off radioactive waste? What is the cost to them? What is the environmental cost of running these machines? Are they clean or are they not? Is there some, wherever, you know, they came from, is there some place they have to go back to after their journeys are finished to dump whatever they've used up in terms of fuel, like we would a bad fuel rod in a reactor? That is a question I'd like to know, I'd like to ask, is, you know, are you a clean burning vessel, or is there some cost that you pay, like we paid for atomic energy? You know, there are many theories. I mean, some theories are that the military already knows about these forms of propulsion and lighter than air vehicles, or metals that can be vibrated to a certain point where they become light waves, photons. Maybe we don't know. Maybe they're being used in a surveillance capacity. You know, weapons that could be associated with such vehicles.